Good morning,
Good afternoon.
good evening, wherever you are on this amazing planet that we exist upon.
Welcome to being here.
So, today we're talking about your internal navigation system.
You know, that internal experience of knowing where you are, how you are, that relates to life. By the way, I'm Ariel,
I'm Shia,
and we do finish each other's sentences.
and we're not really going anywhere.
That sounds good.
We're just going to follow the moment and see where it takes us. On today's show, we have a couple of lovely guests, and we'll start with the first one.
Why not?
Right.
Let's take him. I
Dominic.
like it. We're going to start launch right in. Dominic, welcome to being here. It's so nice to have you with us. Can you tell people where you are zooming in from?
Hi, I'm Dominic. I'm from Keeming.
Keeming?
Yeah, in Germany.
Welcome.
Hi.
So nice to have you with us. Yeah.
So, how's life?
Life is awesome, and I found a good compass, or for my life.
A compass for your life?
Yeah, and you know, I had an accident,
Yes.
and after the accident, all was shaken up, and my job perspectives were gone.
Yes.
So
you mind if we tell people a little bit about?
Yeah.
We got to meet Dominic when we were in Hamburg last for the Art of Being Happy and the Freedom to Breathe courses. He's beloved by many in the European community, and 12 years ago, if I've got this right, he was buried in an avalanche for 17 minutes, and when they dug him out, he was no longer heart beating. They revived him. He was in a coma induced for 5 weeks. And when he came out after that period of time, where he also needed to be resuscitated multiple times because his heart stopped, he had to relearn everything aside from all the pieces that were broken to walk, to talk, to navigate life again. So having been a professional ski instructor, for instance, when he came back, that was no longer an option on the table. So you were starting from scratch in all ways.
Yeah.
Good version of what happened?
Yeah. That's right. And I found that dogs are not only my passion, but I can earn money with teaching and with taking pictures of dogs.
Your dog just said, yes,
Yeah.
yes, you take pictures of me.
Yeah. and well, the thing is that I'm really good at what I do, and it fills my heart with joy and excitement. Um, but
Uh-huh.
or
But yes.
aber or um no no aber
Okay,
um,
no but.
yeah
Yes.
um the the little problem that shakes up my corpus is that my talking um, and endurance is only lasting for 1.5 hours. So it's
You need to translate for me.
So let me make sure I got this. You're saying your
Mhm.
talking endurance only lasts
yeah
for an hour and a half?
yeah
Well, yes and no. Sean and I, excuse me, spoke about you to each other after the Monday night
In
Living
Hamburg.
Made Easy in Hamburg,
yeah
where you came up and you were speaking very fluidly without the hesitation. Words were just flying out of your mouth.
it was
Yes, you was.
yeah
I know you just made a movement, but nobody's going to be able to see it
yeah
only. So that is a possibility, and part of it happens out of you being relaxed,
yeah
and
B, out of your being amongst people where you were speaking on a regular basis. See, when you have to think about speaking because it's not something you're doing regularly, you're not interacting with a lot of people regularly,
yeah
the facility slows down. Your facility to find the right words and bring them up to say them
okay
slows down.
yeah
But you demonstrated clearly that you could, when you get into the habit of it, speak fluently.
I also think your speech hesitation, while it is neurological and it's part of your whole recovery process, everybody has a type of speech hesitation. It may not be as obvious. You're smiling, so I know I'm hitting the thing. It may not be as obvious audibly to people who are listening to others, but you know, when people have attention on themselves, they are double checking what they're going to say. They edit it as it's coming out of their mouth. It's just a bit more obvious for you and from you, but what you're describing is pretty darn normal.
is it
Yeah, see how is it was just very fluid. You have moments
yeah
of fluidity
yeah
too, by
yeah
the way.
Yeah, it's when you're trying to reach or get to a point, make a point out there. You're trying to construct your sentence to produce it rather than letting the words flow out of your mouth.
yeah yeah I'm always thinking how to navigate my
I'll tell you what a lot of it is, because
muscles.
you have a conversation with yourself while you're trying to speak. See, and it's a complaint that the words aren't coming quick enough.
Yeah.
So, it's like you're having a battle in there because you want to say something, and then you're complaining to yourself that you should be able to say it sooner or
Yeah.
better than you're doing.
Yeah, bam, you're right. Now,
No.
the other thing too is you keep telling yourself an untruth. And if you paint, if somebody says, I'm always shy, for instance, painting your life with this really broad brush as if that were true always has you not notice the moments when fluidity pops in. So you came up, you spoke in front of the room, you spoke to us privately, we had lots of conversations with you. And sometimes there were moments, sentences, paragraphs that were totally fluid where somebody wouldn't know that you'd had your accident and that you'd relearned to speak. And other times there's the hesitation, and then there's that help for yourself that you described, where sometimes you write the words and then read them out loud, write the words.
Yeah.
I got something.
Yeah.
I got something. See, I think that it's got to do with Claudia, your wife.
Really?
Yeah, and how I see that is she gets to give you more attention when you're hesitating with words than when you just say them. So you have more of her attention for a longer period of time. If you're struggling, that smile is there, you see.
Nah.
And so it's so to get attention, i.e. love from Claudia, if you're not too fluid. But if you can just say sentences fluently, she'll hear them and move on.
And your dog. What's your dog's name?
Ella.
Because when you started speaking with us and it was apparent to her that you were struggling, she woke up, jumped up, climbed on you.
Yeah.
When it got easy again, she went and curled back up.
Yeah.
So maybe the hesitation serves you and you get something out of it, like attention, and you get, because people are trying. See, for me, watching you talk, I've got all my attention to try to get every word that you're saying, so you own me.
Man, so
you're good, man.
It's all my fault.
First of all, there's no fault involved, and secondly, I really encourage you to notice the fluctuation because it's not always even. So it's
There's
not
another thing. It's called be kind to yourself. See, because when you have hesitations, you are also having a conversation there that's complaining that you should be able to do this better.
That you're trying to push through it to get your point across.
Yeah. So while I'm talking, I should visualize carrot.
Visualize a carrot?
Yeah, carrot or stick.
Carrots or sticks, yes. Well, visualizing a carrot and just allowing yourself to be okay being the way you are in the current moment is different. See, Dominic, allowing yourself to be the way you are will allow you to become
more relaxed.
Yes, and more relaxed. rather than put a pressure on yourself to try to produce, see if you can let the words fall out rather than push them out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also think so many of us, Dominic, are pressing ourselves to be what we perceive we once were. So clearly, before you had your accident, you had a lot more physical facilities available to you more readily, and you could speak without having to think. It just was something you grew up with, and there you go. So you're not just meeting who you are today, you're comparing how you are to how you were or how other people are.
Yeah.
And the game, my friend, is to be okay being Dominic the way he is. And that will allow Dominic to discover new possibilities of Dominic rather than try to be the way he once was. And these new possibilities may be much more than you could even begin to imagine.
You mentioned something while you were in the course. You talked about how after your accident, you spent a couple years in rehab
Yeah.
and you worked your butt off, you said.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of an analogy that Shia has often used about, you get in the car and you want to go across country, and you go across country and you come to a large river, and there's no bridge. Then you have to get in a different conveyance to cross that river.
Mm-hmm.
And working your behind off has really served you well. However, there may be other facilities now, like relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That are going to be supportive of you, where that pushing is something that you need
or needed,
but not all the time. Like if I'm building something, it's really great if I have a hammer, but a hammer's not going to do all the work. It only does what it's
meant to do.
And if you use it for everything else, you're in trouble.
Yeah, really difficult to cut a straight line with a hammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True. Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I was so inspired by you. You were talking about recognizing how you'd had plans to wear a cheesy holiday sweater with blinking lights that your mom would hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
To her. I just find you very, very inspiring, and not in particular about the physicality that you've regained, but about what you're seeing as a possibility for life.
Thanks.
The other thing is this, Dominic, you've had, well, how old were you when you had your first accident?
22.
22. You
Yeah.
were still a kid.
Yeah.
At 22, we're still children. We have bigger bodies and we think we know everything. But the truth of the matter is, when you're 22, you're a kid. If you're like me, because I didn't grow up until I was considerably older than that, really, and you have a kid's point of view about life, and your parents are the problem when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, there's this possibility of becoming a person, not a child, not an adult, not a grown-up, but a person, a mensch,
Mm-hmm.
where you are being responsible for your life and not blaming others for how you experience living. And I do believe you are reaching that place in your life where you're starting to see that people did their best for you, but when you were upset, especially when you couldn't move well or couldn't speak well, you got angry and blamed them for your misfortune.
Or frustration.
Sound familiar?
No. No.
Well, I remember you saying something that your mother was mean to you.
That may have transformed, but
Um,
The way she spoke to you, because
or in her actions.
later. Later.
yeah, later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
but that's what he's talking about,
you know-
Dominic, not the accident itself, but in the
I-
recovery process.
I'm sure if you were like me, you were a brat.
Mm-hmm.
Did his own way all the time. You're smiling.
Yep. Yep.
Good. See, and now you're realizing that your parents did the very best they knew how to do. And it was, look, it's got to be terribly frustrating for you to have a child who is so athletic and so fit suddenly one day be a vegetable for a long
Yes.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terribly upsetting.
Yeah.
And frightening.
And frightening, and they thought they'd lose you. And so, of course, they were overly concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't overly concerned. They were concerned, and it was real life for them.
Yeah.
But I know you were frustrated in there. You had to be. You know, it's one thing to think I should be able to walk now when you couldn't, or I should be able to speak fluently now.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's so easy to blame your world rather than realize that you got something to do with it. But when you realize that you have something to do with it, that gives you power, not force, but power. That gives you the ability to create a life.
Now I see what you're going.
Yes. See,
Yeah.
as long as you are the victim of the circumstances of your life, you cannot create a life. Then it's all history determining how your future shows up.
Yeah.
But like with transformation, when you get to the current moment and not blame anything, including yourself, you suddenly see options that didn't exist before for your greatness. And that, my friend, is becoming available to you. But you have to be willing to be responsible for what came before. That's not be guilty or shame or guilt. You know,
No
it's
fault.
no fault involved. It just life happened the way it did. And now what?
Now speak.
You know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
As you two were talking, I recalled my really deep speech problem when we first started working together. Our first seminar, Dominic, was a couple hours. We were invited to, there were some people who discovered that how we were being in ourselves was different than how they had known us before our lives transformed. We had transformation, right? And so they invited us to come and talk to them about it and meet their friends and their colleagues. And so we had our very first seminar, or maybe our second one, but the first one on the East Coast. And I had the idea that I had nothing to say. And the idea created this speech impediment for me. As in, I said maybe 3 sentences the entire evening because I was uncomfortable in myself.
Okay.
And it eventually dissolved. Sometimes Shia is like, wow, you know, I didn't say anything. You spoke all the time. Patience and having where you are and how you are be perfect. You're perfect. You're a perfect Dominic.
See, in this moment, Dominic, you can only be exactly where you are. Your dog can only be lying on the bed next to you.
Mm,
I mean, that's just the way it is in this moment. So it's a perfect moment because it can't be different than it is. And when it is different, it'll be the way it is. So it's really about being kind to yourself. And look, I realize, and I hope this doesn't come out wrong, but I realize that the German culture is not based in being kind to yourself.
no.
No. So what you've been raised in has been to push yourself, to get ahead, to think clearly and produce results.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, my friend, being kind to yourself and allowing you to be the way you are will not be a complacency. It won't be lazy. It will be restful for your being. See, because you keep pushing on yourself to get where you think you should be by now, rather than allow yourself to be where you are by now, which will allow you to be much more self-expressive, by the way.
Yep.
You know, when we did that, the first day we met you, we did the Freedom to Breathe seminar.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, we just did a very relaxing breathing technique. And we were really careful not to push anybody. And if I'm recalling, we, if anything, encouraged you to, while breathing, just relax into being you rather than pushing to get away from you. And it was very profound. At least that was my experience.
Mm. It was phew. Mm. It was um, ground shaking. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what we did? A lot of nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
There was no pushing you to be different. It was just
allowing
slowing down.
allowing you to be in the experience of being you in that moment.
Mm. Yeah.
Including any emotions, physicalities, including all of you, rather than pushing to get away from you. And
Yeah.
And we didn't try to push you to get you somewhere. It was all about allowing you to discover the moment where you were.
Mm.
this is a personal invitation from me. I hope we see you again sooner rather than later, because being kind to yourself is a skill set that you can develop, and relaxing into being you is a skill set that is developable, so that there's a relaxation about everything, including your speech.
See you. Yeah.
Good. Good. He said, I'll see you because we enjoy your company as
Yeah,
well.
that's the other thing, man. You know, like we enjoy you the way you are, even though if you don't enjoy you the way we are, we enjoy you the way you are, which allows you to be the way you are, which is allowing for a transformation to take place. Because when you resist things, you keep what you resist in place. And when you allow things to be the way they are, they can complete themselves, which demonstrated hugely at the weekend that you did, or the Monday night after the weekend.
It was
a freaking star, man.
What? Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What happened? Yeah.
yes, what happened? But here's the thing, that environment that we create is an artificial environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like life in Munich,
Mhm.
where you are is close to Munich, yes?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, because I can't pronounce
Is it Keiming?
Kimming.
Keeming.
Yeah.
Okay. In Keeming, people don't hold you as perfect the way you are.
No, they don't.
But they can't do that because they
Don't
don't
hold
investigate
themselves
being
as
perfect. the way-
perfect the way they are. We, on the other hand, create an environment that you can discover you're okay. And when you're okay, man, you can get a lot done. It's when you think you're not okay that you're constantly battling with your thoughts to try to be okay, and you can never be okay enough for your thoughts. See,
Damn thoughts. Yeah.
Well, luckily, you don't have to get rid of those thoughts. They're hardwired in there. So the more you can include that you have those thoughts and not make them mean anything.
the less they determine how you experience living. It's all about the experience of the moment. It's really not about what you think. What you think is the same stuff you thought before. In the moment, you experience your life.
Mm.
You know, I was not a skier, but when I was in my early 20s, I was a surfer,
Hmm.
and I surfed Waimea Bay and Bonsai Pipeline and places like that. I lived in Hawaii for 8 months. And there were moments dropping into a wave, a big wave, where the wind is coming up at me and I'm just free falling. And I'm in my experience and there's no thought.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're stuck in your thoughts, that's when you're making mistakes.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So we invite you to play with us every opportunity you get because we like you.
Not because you need it,
But because
it would be
we
fun
like
to have you
you.
around.
Right.
And I like you.
Well, excellent. Thank you. Well, then it's mutual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on today.
Yes. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah.
We do appreciate you.
You know, when this airs, you may want to listen to it again, Dominic, because you're going to find there are times where you're struggling to express yourself and times where it comes easily. And if you recognize that you have both of those now, then the story falls away and all you have is just the moment.
All right. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's that time.
The time for what?
Our listener feedback spotlight.
What is that?
Well, I'm so proud of the people who listen to this show. And now we get to hear from one or more of them about what's happening in their lives with transformation by listening to this podcast and
what they've discovered about life, what they've discovered about their lives, that they are experiencing fun in their lives.
and that they want to share it with you.
Yeah.
My name is Dave. I'm in Winnipeg in Canada. Transformation has given me the ease to look at my life with kindness. The things that are insecurities to me, I can look at them and talk about them openly with a community of people who are accepting and generous. And I love that.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Erin and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We are coming back from Costa Rica soon, and we have a couple of Living Made Easy 2-hour virtual seminars. They are on Monday, January 27th, Tuesday, January 28th, to accommodate different time zones. The one on Tuesday is bilingual, English and German. You can find out about that and more details on our website, and I'll give you that in a moment. Our next weekend seminars, we have 2 virtual ones coming up. Living Life with Passion and Wonder,
February 22nd and 23rd, and that's a virtual seminar.
The next virtual one is Transformation in the Workplace.
That's April 5th and 6th.
And then we're going to come see Dominic and all the folks in the European community and those who travel to be with them for the Freedom to Breathe and the Superpower of Being You. That's May 22nd for the Freedom to Breathe, and the 23rd, 24th, and 25th is the Superpower of Being You, which is a brand new course.
Yes.
That is. Well, they're all brand new. Living Life with Passion and Wonder is new. And we've revised Transformation Workplace. So everything
It's
is
all new.
It's all new.
The moment is new, and here you are.
And the weekends are the prerequisite, coming to at least one weekend in this calendar year. We'll set you up should you wish to join us in Costa Rica in 2026. All right. TransformationMadeEasy.com is where you find it all. Let's take our next guest.
Yes,
All right.
Daniela.
Hello, this is Daniela. Yeah, I'm calling in from Euskirchen, very close to Cologne in Germany.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Yes, you look good.
Thank you.
You sound good too. Can't see you visually, so.
Thank you. I forgot the theme of today and I forgot completely my question.
That's okay. You're probably listening to the conversation with our last guest, and Dominic, and I like that you lost the question. See, when you're truly listening, it's really hard to hold on to, it's impossible actually, the question that you are holding on to ask about. Because when you engage through listening, you let go of your thought process and you're just there receiving your life through your eyes, through your ears. And that's brilliant. So I don't mind forgetting your question. But okay, if you had a question now, what would you ask about?
A lot of things. But while you were talking, something popped up, and I experience when I'm listening to people what can happen, and often I forget that, and I'm all in my agenda what I want to talk about, and yeah.
Can I interrupt a moment?
Yes.
I know you're about to ask, but I just want to let you know, I believe that happens for everyone. Last week, we were talking with Ben and Angelina. It's a really sweet show, but I could see how, Ben, who's pretty new, they're both pretty new. We met them for the first time in Hamburg to our approach. There's that pressure to always be center, always be focused, always be on. That's change, where you have a picture of a better you.
And you strive to get to that rather than allow yourself to discover in the current moment who you are being.
So then as you bring awareness to who you are and how you're being, and you realize you've lost the experience that you have and you're lost in your agenda, then that's information, and seeing it is enough.
Yeah.
See, when you judge it, you keep it in place. So if you think you should be clear all the time and you find yourself in a moment where you're not, well, that's just a moment where you're not.
Mhm.
So now I stopped you midstream, so your question may have gone away, or you may still have it. So
I can't remember what I was wanted to talk about, but something else came up.
Right.
Mm, and maybe I remember what the topic of today was. It's like, I think in a way that I know where I am at the moment, meaning, okay, talking to you, but in my life, like I have a family, I'm living with Christian, my boyfriend, and Sophia, our daughter, and I have a job, and it and I have circumstances with my mother. She's going through cancer treatment, and I have friends and family and so on. And so I think on the one hand side, I don't need to ask myself where I'm headed because I see it every day, right? On the other hand, because I know that my job will end the end of January, and that means I will stay in the company. It's a very big company. Um, and yeah, I'm asked to search for a new job. And now sometimes during the day, the question comes up while I also prepare my CV, like, yeah, who am I, or what do I want? And I'm thinking, yeah, sometimes things come up where I think, yeah, I can be easily inspired, and I can easily work through difficult tasks or be a project manager. And then I'm thinking, oh, I can do also other things very well, or I have fun with it. So
Well,
yeah.
and what I would do is engage in your current job like it's going to last forever and be excellent at it. And opportunities are going to show up out of that as to what's next.
you
So-
may not have seen what the opportunity, because you had mentioned this before to us, that your company's interested in keeping you and they'd love to find you or have you find a different position within the company. But if you sit back and try to figure it out, that's not the ultimate potential of you. If you do what Shia was talking about, where you engage so fully to complete this job with excellence, but going about it as if it's going to be your job for the next year, as opposed to the next short period of time. And you have a little more time than a week or two, because we're recording this, before we release it on January 22nd. So we're a little ahead of that. You won't have to figure it out. It becomes obvious.
And opportunities are going to unveil themselves. They're going to show up. But it will only happen if you're fully engaged in what you're up to, not lost in your thoughts. If you're lost in your thoughts, you won't shine.
Yeah.
See, you won't be this gem for people to say, I want Daniela in my department.
So you don't know if it's going to come from that way, or you could be walking down a hall at your business, going from one on your way to the bathroom or the coffee machine, and you overhear somebody talk about something and you hear a word that pops out and you're like, that's it. Like, I don't know how it's going to come to you, but it comes to you by being engaged, not by disengaging and trying to figure it out.
See, you're not going to be able to figure it out from what you already know. But you can discover what's appropriate, available, It'll show itself. Like you couldn't have imagined meeting Christian a day before you did.
No.
He just showed up.
Yeah.
Well, your next job can be that way too.
Mm. Yeah. I see now where I'm stuck during the day, like, oh, what could I do, and what am I good at? And
But when you're doing that, you're doing nothing to get your job done.
mm,
You're thinking about something that is not productive. It doesn't
mm,
produce a new job. It just produces not knowing what to do next.
You know, it's okay to go to work and go about it with excellence. And at the end of the day, or even throughout the day, be inspired by yourself and how you're going about it and your output. You don't have to sit back and try and figure out what you need to do next. I know that's the normal thing and they've asked you, but I do believe there have to be people there looking.
Someone just like you.
You know, we've hired multiple people over the years to do multiple jobs in our company. And we always tap or request or hire the person who's already doing the job, even if their job is something else. You know, if they're already operating as a seminar manager, they're already operating as a person who's organizing things. It may not be in the area that I need them to, but if I see them already doing it, then it's obvious they're the person. I don't hire people who want to be a something. If they want to be a something, and of course we've worked with many people, consulting them as hiring agents in businesses and as people who are hoping to get jobs. And the biggest mistake is hiring somebody who might develop into a something as opposed to somebody who's already showing the attributes of that particular job, even if they haven't done it yet and know nothing about it.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds like just being me is the key.
Just being you is good.
Yeah, but it requires you to admit how cool you are, how good you are, how brilliant you are, instead of being so internally modest.
Today, I caught myself that I was so or I start the sentence in a different way. I learned a new tool today. Yeah, I called up a colleague and said, okay, I want really to know how this is working because I need it in, I don't know, I need it in an hour and I want to know it now. And so she talked me through, and in the end of this talk, I could use the tool. And before I hung up, without thinking about it, I said, oh, I'm now so excited to use the tool. And then I thought, it's so fun to see myself sometimes, how I get excited about such, okay, from my perspective, little thing, but it's a tool that nobody uses around me, and I'm excited to use it and show it to everybody, and yeah. And so, yeah, it was fun today.
It's okay, Daniela, for you to be excited about your life.
Wildly excited about it. But I tell you, when you're disengaged, chances are you drop into that kind of schmullenfest, that bratty nature that's like, how come my job is ending? And why don't they find something for me? And doesn't like it.
Yeah, and I fall also in a role that I think I should be in a specific way to be like them, whoever them are, So.
Well, I'm telling you, I could never have your laugh. I love your laugh. You're very uniquely you.
Yeah.
If you were trying to have my laugh, the world would be so much poorer. Not because mine is lesser or inferior, but but because you are unique.
Mm.
And the world needs you.
The way you are.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really a treat being with you today, Daniela. You said something. I got to tell you something. You said when you're trying to figure out your CV, your
Curriculum vitae.
curriculum vitae and what you bring to the party, you said you're really good at figuring out difficult problems. Great. But I would also like to introduce an idea that you're really great at having things be easy also. What you learned today and got excited about, and you learned so quickly was easy for you, and you have a passion and excitement for making it easy for other people too. If you think your only skill set is navigating difficult things, you're going to create difficulties so that you can navigate.
Yes. Yes.
I'm excited to hear, what comes
There
next.
it goes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you for being with us today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love to Christian
And
and
Sophia. Yeah.
Thanks.
And we wish your mother get better.
The best. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Well, you can subscribe to the podcast. You can subscribe to our newsletter. You can share either or both with your friends. And you can find all our courses at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Yeah.
Next week's episode
Is living life with passion and wonder.
so exciting. We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't
Miss
miss being here.
here.